What's up, ACL Nation? Welcome into another episode of Baggin and Braggin. It's episode number 40, Meesh. I know some of the other shows are hitting them milestones. This is a pretty big one for us, though. Episode 40. No opens or anything going on this weekend, but we do have an exciting tournament coming up this weekend. I'll be making my way to the Battle of the Queens. So we're going to bring on a couple guests. We got Amanda and Brad, and then we're going to bring on Frank Verona, one of my sponsored players, rookie to the ACL Pro season this year. Also got our game, and then we're going to bring back a little mindset with Meesh for this episode. So before we get into all that, though, Meesh, how you doing?
Pretty good. Can't complain. We're recording this on Halloween, so excited to take Rome trick-or-treating tonight and do all the Halloween stuff. My would you rather that we do later in the game is going to be about that. So I'm curious to hear your thoughts on some of that, but definitely an exciting day. Huh?
So is mine.
So is yours? Oh my God, what if it's the same?
Boring show. Content overload.
That would be pretty funny.
Yeah. No, I've been on the phone or on calls or even doing interviews the entire day. So I mean, it's been a pretty jam-packed morning for me, but I'd rather get out of the way early. That way I can just focus on driving tomorrow. I know we got another call, I think like 3:00, but those calls in the middle of the day when you're on the road, they're welcomed. They're a nice little break of pace, get away from podcasts and music. So I'm looking forward to that, but kind of got a lot to brag about, me. So let's go ahead and hop into the bragging segment.
Okay. Hey, I'm excited for it.
Well, the first one's already kind of given away. If you look on the screen, you can see I have been claimed. I have been talking about it for a while. The first team that gives me a hat, I will be their ACL team, biggest fan. So Jeremy Frazier this last weekend hooked it up with a Florida Freeze hat. So surprise, surprise, I'm going back to rooting for the Florida Freeze for the 2024 season.
Yeah, well, shocking. I'm glad you got your hat. You were at a tizzy about it. So glad to see that was rectified.
Yeah, I don't know who picked all white, though, because you can't see it from this angle, but right here at the very top, I put it on the dash, and then we pulled out of the parking lot, and then the hat fell off the dash right on the floorboard, and there's like a little scuff right on the top.
Not to mention if you get like sweaty, like you're gonna have like yellow lines, like
or the bag. You pick the bags up and you adjust your hat. It's gonna be like pine tar, but either way, I'm appreciative of the hat. We had a chance to open up the bar this last weekend, so Cornhole Central was underway. It was kind of a soft opening. They didn't have their liquor license, but overall, I think the bar looks amazing. I was ecstatic with how the boards turned out. The boards are amazing. The banner is gigantic. So
saw that.
I'm really, really happy with that. We still got pitch pads coming. We kind of had like a little knockoff Versa court there, but I think it provides a really, really cool feel. So once we put the mats and stuff on top of that, I think it'd look really, really nice. And then my boy Matt Merkel from Merc Boards, he came down, gave us like one of these neat, like a sign. It's kind of backlit with LED lights. I think I showed it to you, but it was really, really cool how it turned out. And we got that hung up. So we're waiting for the jerseys to come in. We'll have like our own little section of selling the merchandise there for the website with a little QR code. You just basically scan your phone on it. It takes you right there. And I think it's going to be pretty cool how this bar is going to turn out. I like how they're just going right into the tournament. There's no rounders. So I don't know how your regionals play out.
No rounders.
Into it, yeah. I don't like doing rounders. For a division, you get to go right into it. But he's got it staggered. So basically, you can do intermediate one day, and then if you want to try advanced later on in the same day, you can do that. And then you can come back the next day and try comp. So I think it's like staggered. You can do, if you're an intermediate player, you can play in all 4 divisions the way it's staggered. It's really, really cool.
Okay, interesting.
So I got a chance to play in comp, advanced, and open this last weekend. And I guess I'll go ahead and start my bragging with Blake Shirtliff with a huge carry of your boy. So I was pretty much dead weight, and he just drugged me all the way to the finals. Of course, we lose game 1. We had the king seat, Meesh.
Wow.
We lose game 1, of course. Actually, I don't know. Do we have king seat? Either way.
Why do you say 2, of course? Just because it's K9?
It's K9. It's always going to game 2.
Okay, got it.
So I don't know if we had the king seat. I can't remember. But either way, game 2, I finally showed up. I shined. And we ended
when it matters the most.
Yeah. So and by shining, I mean I did well for my skill level.
Yeah. You played your close to your ceiling. Got it.
Yeah. So we took down the open blind draw. So I got my open points and doubles out of the way. It's my first open dub of the year. Hopefully, I'll get plenty more as my skill progresses throughout. And then didn't do well in advance. Went 0-2 there. I went 1-2, but I was just done. Like I
Yeah.
was beat.
No,
Yeah.
I already shined, okay?
Well, you got to keep in mind my birthday was Thursday. So we
Right.
had the tournament at the bar Thursday. I said I'm going to do one shot. Everybody pick your shot. We'll do it all at the same time. Well, party bus full of girls show up. I have to go inside to see what's going on. So I'll do a shot real quick. So the bartender knows I'm only doing one shot, right? It's like this big. And she's like, "Well, you said you're only doing one." I was like,
1 equals 3.
"Yeah." So I was like, "Okay, I'll do it." Like chug, 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 chug. I was like, "That's not a shot."
That was a martini, but thank
Yeah.
you.
So did that one. Of course, one led to like five more. And then
Okay.
next thing you know, 6 o'clock in the morning comes way too early the next day. So yeah, I was just exhausted.
Oh
And
my
then I
god.
was kind of disappointed in my comp performance. We made it all the way to the king seat match, lost that one, and then lost the next match after it. My boy Patty P, I'm gonna brag on him. He's one of these guys who would pick me up, take me to the airport last year, and said, "Hey, I think I'm gonna play cornhole. I think it's kind of fun." I said, "Dude, come on out. We'd love to have you." And he started playing about a year and a half ago, and he was lights out. He was
Of
probably the
course.
best player in the building. So I was really happy to see him finally you know, break over that hump and get himself a dub. So
Nice.
shout out to him.
I love it. Hey,
Yeah.
that's a great little, bragging section there. Mine
Yeah.
is not as juicy, I guess. So, I got to play cornhole on Friday. It's been a while since I've gone and done a tournament, because we obviously don't have our venue, and then
Yep.
the club in town that meets on Friday nights during the summer, they do it outside at this river, and I refuse to go because it's either too hot, too cold, or too many mosquitoes. It's dirt everywhere and people love it, and that's great. It is not my scene, and I refuse to go. So last week, they moved back into the indoor room that they have that they use in the other seasons. So I went, and yeah, it felt good to get out there and play. Nothing really changes. I probably only play cornhole a couple times a month, and it's like I don't get worse. I don't get better,
Yeah.
obviously, but I don't
Yeah.
get worse. So I feel like I'm just kind of like I'm kind of proud to like maintain my like 5.5 to 6.5 PPR that for only throwing a couple times a month. I'm like, yeah, that seems about right.
That's kind of how
That
I
seems
feel.
where I
Like
should be.
I'm so happy that my airmail, I'm hitting like 60 to 70% of my airmails. I'm just not hitting any of my pushes and I'm not hitting any of my back blocks. So
Yeah,
like when my opponents only score 5, 6 times on me, but it's almost guaranteed they're at least getting 1 or 2 fives at it, whenever they do
yeah,
score.
it's a big
So it's
score.
yeah,
Yeah.
but I mean, there was times where I played one guy, and he put up a blocker 90%. I think we only lasted 10 rounds. And he put up a blocker, first bag blocker, like every single time.
You're like,
And
ugh.
then there's a situation probably 5 times where I had to hit a backside ridiculous airmail to only give up 1 point, and I would hit it. And we're like round 7 or 8, and like it's only 5-3.
Yeah.
And I lose, and I go back and look at that match. I'm like, how did I lose 23-3?
What
Like
happened?
I was killing it with the airmail. And he's like, dude, I didn't. He's like, you had me nervous because my blocker wasn't doing anything against you. You're just so confident in your airmail. And I said, dude, I had no idea that like you just got away from me. You just scored big points, I guess. And
Yeah.
I left that match. I was really, really happy. And I went back and looked at the stats. I'm like, I scored 3 points. Like, what the hell?
You
I
did a
s-
lot of saving
I did.
yourself, but not a lot of scoring.
Oh, I felt so good for a
That'll
little
happen.
bit. I felt so
Yeah,
good for
I
a little
mean,
bit.
you kept yourself in the game probably, beyond a 3-round thing that it could have. There
Yeah.
was one game where I go, "Hey, Nick, look, I threw a 9 PPR." He's like, "What?" I'm like, "Yep, it was 2 rounds."
Yeah.
I threw a 4-bagger in my first round, and then whatever you throw after that, that equals an average of 9.
Yeah.
So, I don't know, is that like a 6 or a 7? I'm not sure, but
I
I
think
was
probably
like,
be 6,
go
right?
yeah, going in strong with my 9 PPR with this 2-round game, so I was happy with that, but,
I'll
I'll
never
talk
forget
about it.
I'll never forget one time, sorry, real quick. We went to a
Oh, go
fair
ahead.
and it was like we did rounders. People don't know how to play cornhole. They show up and they played too. And I
Yeah.
threw a 4-bagger my first round, scored 10. And then my partner threw a 4-bagger back down, scored 11. The game was over in
Oh my
8
god.
bags. I was like, I don't know
They're
how I
never
feel
gonna
about
come
this.
back. You ruined it. They're
It's like
like, "This
perfect
is
game.
stupid."
Woohoo!
Yeah, I threw a perfect game, but people you threw against are like, "I'll never come to this again. This is stupid." I'll talk about more about what happened on Friday night in my floor bagger of the week, so you can look forward to that. But for now, we'll take a quick break and we'll come back and do our first interview right after this. All right, Wally, I know this is one of your sponsor players, so I'll let you intro him in. Tell us about who we're going to be talking to.
Yeah, this tall feller here is one of the most fun players you guys are going to watch all season. I just love his personality. Kind of came on the scenes last year near the end of the season for me, but the name was there all year long. People have been talking about this guy, and I'm glad I finally got to take a peek at him in one of his battles against Matt Guy. It was just a all around brawl. But happy to have this guy on my squad. Let's go ahead and bring on Frank Verona.
Welcome. Hey, Frank.
Hello. Thank you
What
for
up,
asking.
dude?
What up?
He looks very like in the Halloween spirit right now. You're kind of like a purple or bluish hue.
Yeah, so I have a nephew who's just playing Minecraft in here, and I have like the background of it. So, and I'm like have my phone set on my TV, so that's
Is that what the music is?
yeah.
I don't think we've ever been music serenaded by players before.
Hold on.
Yeah, that's new. That's new.
All right, there we go. My bad.
Minecraft, that's a big game in my house. My son loves Minecraft. Yesterday he built a boat. It's very impressive. Love it.
I'm trying to teach my nephew. It's not the easiest, but something I got to do.
All right,
For sure.
Let's talk about your bag life for a little bit, man. You finally made it to the pro division. How do you think last year went, and what are you looking for this year?
I mean, I would say last year was nothing I expected. I was going into it just trying to get top 100, to be honest. And then just over time, I kept going to a bunch of tournaments and stuff. And then so I'm going to Vegas this weekend for Bagmania. And last year, Jimmy asked me to play on like a day's notice. And it once he asked me, it hit me. I was like, I could actually do this. And we actually went really far. We got third place overall, losing to Tony and Jacob and Trey and Alex. And I was like competing with them, and it was like it hit me. I was like, all right, I could do this. I mapped out the rest of the tournaments I had to go to and mapped out my points that I had to get, and we did it. And it's awesome. I mean, and this year I don't even know. It's gonna be fun. Obviously maybe a little nervous, but once I get the reps in, I'll be fine. It's not anybody I haven't played before.
It's kind of a unique thing, right? Like some of the pros, I feel like go in with the attitude of, I can beat anybody. I can do this. I'm the best kind of mentality. Then there's the people who are like, yeah, I'm pretty good. Like, we'll have to see. And then as they start winning, they're like, oh, maybe I am like really good. Like, maybe I can actually do this. So I think it's funny to have those two kind of conflicting paths. But how do you feel like that level of confidence has played into your game now that you beat people that maybe you walked over to the boards and didn't know you would beat?
Yeah, I definitely mentally defeated myself before I've walked up to boards, especially Wisconsin, when I was basically put my name out there. I was like, I am not making it out of this quarter. And then just as I was throwing, I learned more and more mentally about myself each game and stuff. And once I got past it, the pressure was off and I just got through it. And it's definitely helped me knowing that I could really compete against all those really good players.
Yeah, and speaking of those really good players, I mean, do you guys have like a skinny group chat where you, Brady Foster, and Jimmy Unions just decide who's going to throw with each other? Because I mean, you guys are all pushing about $1.15. It looks like, and just throwing nothing but tens and above. So
Yeah.
how are you? How is it basically getting mentored? I guess by Jimmy to kind of go through the ranks, because I mean, I was looking for a player in the Northeast. I wanted to make sure I had somebody. I couldn't afford Jimmy Humans. He's big time now. But your name's one that just continued to come up, man. So I mean, talk about all the support, basically from Jimmy and Tornado and all them.
No, they've definitely helped, and they've put trust in me, which means a lot because I know Jimmy's pretty picky about partners and stuff. So being a part of it, as you know, makes me feel good about myself in a sense. But all the people in the Northeast, like literally anybody that can't throw a bag, and everybody that I've played, they're all amazing people, and they've all had my back through everything. I've been like every game I've played, and just meeting a bunch of all these people is awesome, and it really, yeah, that's all I can really say. It's awesome.
Is that like a theme or a pattern that you've noticed about yourself, like your personality, where you don't have like 100% belief in yourself, and then when somebody kind of acknowledges it, it sort of puts it in perspective for you, or is that just a cornhole thing?
I don't really know. I feel there's sometimes like one, it depends on the day, I guess. One day I feel like I'm gonna lose every game I play, and then others I feel like untouchable. I really don't know how to describe it, but it's, yeah, it just depends on the day.
That would be nice to figure out.
I like to figure it out.
Plan the rest of your day if you know you don't have it early. Just like, hey, we're
Right?
just gonna go eat dinner. What are we talking about? We haven't started yet. Well, I know what I'm gonna do.
I already know.
No.
Yeah, but has that ever turned around, like where you're like, this isn't my day, but then it becomes your day, or is that pretty much like what happens if that's where your mind's at?
Yeah, probably yes. The other day I played in the regional tornadoes regional, and I was just completely just out of it, and I was mentally just checked out, but I was just chucking like with no thought, and I ended up actually like winning it. And I was like, interesting.
Not thinking is pretty nice.
It depends. Honestly, it does help sometimes. Sometimes I really got to think, and sometimes like I don't. It depends.
Yeah, well, one thing I love about you is your personality, man. Whenever you guys were playing, I think it was teams, and you and I think it was Sorrells were just up there having a good time. You were throwing over your head backwards, you just under your legs, whatever you were doing from your knees. I mean, you're having a good time, and then kind of looking about this whole court measurement thing from last weekend, and then your response, I think it was to Logan or somebody in the chat, was just like, just be like me, don't make it to the championship match, not a problem, boom, like.
Literally, it's not.
Your nonchalant attitude, man, is what I think keeps it fun for you. So, I mean, on a scale of basically trying to win all the time and have fun, what do you, how do you scale it?
Um, it's a good question, because I don't really want to take like how I like feel in like inside, because I want to win really bad like inside, but like at the end of the day, like it is cornhole. Like I'm not gonna get into a fight with people over it. It's a thing where everyone comes together and has a good time. So I mean, it's a good balance, but I do really want to win.
Yeah.
So how do you manage losses? Like what happens for you both internally and externally?
Probably throw my arm out, literally go back onto a board and throw it and figure it out. Otherwise, and I ain't gonna win.
Yeah.
Are you a player that likes to go practice in between games and rounds and stuff like that, or do you kind of sit and watch your opponents or the
I'm definitely
environment?
one to throw. Like I'll probably throw like probably 400 rounds in a day. Like at a tournament, like anytime I'm not playing, I'm trying to throw on a board. Like I've had people say like you're crazy.
I just can't
Well,
do it.
well, he's a little younger than us, Wally.
That's a good point. A good point.
I think that helps with endurance. And I always tell people too, who talk about endurance, a lot of that fatigue comes from overthinking. So like if you are able to just kind of just throw your bag and go with the flow, you're going to conserve a lot of energy. Even if you're physically using your arm, it's actually the mental power that's the most draining. So you might have something there when you just sort of go and throw. But I think age has a lot to do with it too. And speaking of age, that's a big conversation in our sport is the youth and how they're coming up and playing this certain style of game. So what are your opinions about the different styles of play and how do you play against the different styles?
um, it's interesting. I don't really playing the kids is not my favorite thing. I'm gonna be honest, especially when they're screaming every time they make a big shot, because then that's when the heart starts going boom 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 boom. But
Yeah.
it's interesting.
And you're not
But
an earbuds guy, right?
sometimes yeah, sometimes no. Usually when I wear earbuds, I put too much pressure on myself. That's when things go south.
Interesting. I've
But
not
also,
heard that
if I have
before.
kids screaming in my ear, then I want to have headphones on. I don't know. It
Yeah.
depends on the mindset that day.
Yeah, and then I'm not sure if I had a chance to talk. What bags are you throwing this year, and what kind of goals do you have for yourself and your partner?
I'm throwing Brotherhood, Wingmen, and
Wingman.
Guardian
Okay.
probably. Maybe Steel Reigns. Who knows? Honestly, at this point, depends on the board. But I definitely want to do good things. Strive for the best. That's really all I can do. And as long as I throw good, and I mean, if people throw better than me, then so be it. I'm gonna be mad, but what am I gonna do about it?
That's definitely the right attitude to have because you can only control yourself, right? So if
Yeah,
someone is just lights out that day, if their ceiling beats your ceiling, what are you gonna do?
yeah. I mean, if my partner throws a 4 PPR, what am I gonna do? I can only
Yeah,
have a good time.
absolutely.
I'll make fun of them instead.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, Frank, it's been awesome getting to chat with you. Thanks so much for coming on and spending time with us, and we'll definitely look out for your season. So
Thank
good
you so
luck
much.
out there.
Honored.
All right,
Yeah.
thanks, brother.
All right, we're gonna take a quick break. When we come back, we'll have our next guest on right after this. We're back and we have another awesome interview here for you. And Wally, I'll let you take this one as well since you went out and made this happen. So tell us who we're going to be talking to.
Yeah, yeah. So we're all kind of busy. This lady is extremely busy, so I'm happy that she's able to share a few moments with us here between, putting on a tournament, and sponsoring a whole bunch of players, and then having a wedding. So figure she's got a lot to talk about. Let's go ahead and bring on Amanda Kurth now.
Hello.
How you doing?
Hi. Good. Hope you guys are.
Yeah, really good. It's actually gonna take me a while to get used to seeing Kurth. I was like,
I know.
I was
When I
like,
was
what?
typing my name, I typed in Amanda Hill first. I was like, oh, delete, delete, delete. I had to back it on up.
So did you already get married, Amanda?
Yes, September 30th.
Oh, well,
Yeah.
congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you.
is a
Very
lucky man there?
He's not. Well, I think he just
Are you
got
what?
home, but we're trying to
Okay.
get ready for Halloween and stuff.
Gotcha.
So he's
Yeah, so
getting
he was
less
he was gonna join us at
trailer.
first as well, but yeah, big tournament coming up this weekend. I imagine you guys are absolutely swamped and busy. I'm kind of doing the same thing here at this, so kind of talk a little bit about the tournament this weekend and everything that involved on your end to make it happen.
Well, for starters, it's a lot of hard work. Getting sponsors, that's the main thing. Like, I always try to start early with getting sponsors and that. I mean, I'm sure, I don't know if you got, well, Wally, you've been getting sponsors for K9. So
Mhm.
it's hard to do that. That's like my first and foremost step that I try to knock out first. But I was just trying to go back through and like look at my numbers as far as how many people we've had from our first tournament to the second tournament and then this year. But unfortunately, our first tournament we ran with Scoreholio, so I can't even find the numbers of that. But I'm pretty sure we had less than 200 people, I want to say, because I know singles was like maybe 150. I can't remember. But then last year we had 256 singles and 128 doubles teams signed up. And then this year we have 272 singles and 154 doubles. So it's
awesome.
just like continuously growing. So
I
I'm
love
very
that.
excited about that and happy.
Yeah, I love that. And for those of you who don't know, Battle of the Queens it's a women's tournament. So it's cool to see the growth. And I think that, I run these women retreats every year and it's amazing how much the women get out of being in these environments with women, like playing
Yes.
against and they all come on to talk about Battle of the Queens and how kind of magical it is, really, like truly
Yeah.
what you're doing. So it's just really cool. So what made you come up with the vision for this?
So back in COVID, I started running ghost games. So I don't know if I was the first. Do you remember the ghost games that I did? I don't want to say, I don't think I was the first person to start the ghost games, but I did a women's only one. And with that, I think I got almost 200 women to sign up for that.
Right.
And Sandy was helping me with that at the time too. So we were like, well, if we can get women to show up for the ghost game, maybe we can turn this into something in person. Like maybe women will want to travel to it. So once, COVID got done, everybody was able to go back to their lives. We started planning the Battle of the Queens. And we were kind of skeptical. We didn't really think that many people were going to come. And then all of a sudden, like, oh, women were signing up. We were getting registrations. And it was just like, even at the time to get over 100 women to show up to North Carolina, that was a huge accomplishment. Like, because it was my first I think it was my only tournament that I've ever ran, like, and put together.
Do you have a
So that
breakdown
was
of like how many from each state
So not last
or
year,
how many
but
states
this
are involved?
year. So this year, so North Carolina being obviously the most, what do you call it? Most attendees. It's like it's a little under 50. But I want to try to show this graph. I don't know if you can really see it or not, but it's kind of hard to see. But so I
we
kind of put that
we can see
together.
we just got released the numbers. So I'm
Yeah,
assuming that
so-
tallest one is North Carolina.
Yeah, so we got, let me see. We did have someone from Canada, but she ended up backing out. But she did register, so we almost had one from Canada.
Oh, it's almost
Um,
international.
Getting
Yeah,
international with it.
yeah.
Let's go.
So there's like Arkansas, Canada. Sorry, California, Florida,
Meesh, have you been out there?
Delaware.
No, and everybody always expects me to be there, and the only reason why I don't go is because I have so many trips I have to go on for the ACL that I
Yeah.
don't typically go to any other ones. But
I don't blame
one of these
you.
years.
I definitely don't blame you there. But we definitely have, let's see, Idaho, Illinois, Indiana, Minnesota. We have them, New Jersey, New Hampshire. We have them coming from all over the place.
Awesome.
Washington State.
So not only
I'm
busy.
gonna try to post that graph on the Battle of the Queens page soon, but I forgot I had it.
Yeah, it'd be awesome.
Yeah, you
So
should.
not
That's
only
exciting.
busy organizing the tournament, but also busy off season for you. You're pretty much going out there and signing a lot of big names. We had a few of them. We did the partner reveal there for Derek and Alex. So kind of talk about your AAR squad this season.
I'm not really good about that, but
All right,
Well, we have
can
players.
you name every single one of them?
Can I name all of them?
She's all, they're good.
Oh God, that was more of Brad's doing. Like, I don't know. He was all into, making sure we have a solid and strong team.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, no, that's great. I think it's great that you guys take on the pieces that you take on, because I know I was in a similar position as you. We ran a kids only tournament a couple of years ago, and I totally understand and relate about the sponsor thing. It's very difficult. And then managing that tournament, we had the same exact experience. We're like, all the people are showing up. It's our first one. We had tons of registrations. We're like, oh, I thought maybe we'd get like 20 kids, but
Right.
so I can totally relate to all that. It's a big job. So kudos to you for doing it and making it bigger every year. I think it's so important for the ladies to have this. And it's become like a staple for everyone for every year. And everyone that doesn't go, everyone that was there was like, you have to go next year. So you've created something really cool.
Yeah, I'm hoping that it just, continues to grow, or, at least stay the same. Hopefully I don't lose women, which I don't think I should. Like, I was definitely worried with the Vegas tournament this year, because I think we both posted our dates at the same time, literally the same day. And I was like, oh no. So I was kind of worried about that affecting our signups, but obviously it didn't. So I'm very happy that it worked out.
Good.
And I'm pretty sure, and I know he's got his everyone going. He's got a lot of people going to his tournament too. What is it? The Crown City, the tournament in Vegas.
It's a win-win.
Yes, it ended up being good. But
yeah, I think we just talked to Frank. Said he's going to head out to that one too. So yeah, do you guys try and coordinate the tournaments to have it on different dates? Or do you guys talk to each other?
Well, I've never talked to him before. I didn't even know about his tournament, so it was kind of like a little bit of a shock. But I think he's already posted his tournament for next year, so that helps me.
Yeah, that's good.
But I definitely talk with Josh Keck about the ACL schedule because I want to make sure it's not going to affect ACL or anything like that. Because I mean, I want the most women to show up as possibly they can.
Yeah.
So.
Yep.
Yeah, we almost need like a spreadsheet that all the different people can just go put their
Yeah.
events on so you can see when things are and not have to compete with
Yeah.
one another.
Mm-hmm.
But really cool. Well, we so appreciate your time, Amanda. I know obviously super busy. Wishing you all the luck for a successful event this weekend. I can't wait to watch all of the women play. And I think I saw like there is a blind draw where men can play as well, correct?
Yes, we do try to. Well, it's our regular Friday night AAR blind draw. So since we already have the space, we just I try to make sure I say that it is separate from the Battle of the Queens because a lot of women were like, "Wait, I thought it was women only."
Yeah.
So, but it is separate. I'm like, yeah, AAR is doing their normal Friday night blind draw. So yes, the husbands that come with their wives, it gives them something to do, and I try to have sit and goes too. So you want to keep everyone happy.
Totally. I think that's super smart.
I like it.
And awesome. Well, we'll let you get back to your busy week and weekend. Everybody watch out for the feeds coming from Wally and watch these women compete. I'm excited to see how it all falls into place. So thank you so much.
Thanks for having me.
Yep. Thank you.
Absolutely. All right, we're going to take a break. And when we come back, we're going to do mindset with Meesh or me right after this. All right, so since we don't have highlights this week, we're going to fill this time with a topic that kind of actually came up when Bernie and I were doing ACL Live. He had brought up that sometimes, or not sometimes, a lot of the times when games end, then things happen, he'll notice a lot of people make excuses like, oh, well, the board's this or that. And so I wanted to touch on the why it's so important we don't make excuses, not just because it's annoying, but there's an actual science behind why it's not helpful. And I'll give the caveat of it's only important if you want to grow in that area. So if you don't care about bettering yourself or growing in a certain area, then you can make excuses all you want. But if you actually have the desire to improve yourself or improve this area of your life, then I'm just going to kind of break down what is the dysfunctional part of making excuses and why it's so important you don't. So it actually goes back to my personal training days. And what I would notice is that people automatically assumed that my role as a personal trainer was to basically force them to be accountable to things. And I didn't ever want that role. So I would say okay, this week, let's focus on this, or that. But then if they didn't do it, they would come back and be like, oh, well, I didn't do my cardio and I didn't do this, but it's because of this and it's because of that.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, well, I don't really care why. It's irrelevant why, because it didn't actually help us get anywhere. And if you just do that every single week, we're never going to make any progress. So I made a rule that they're never allowed to give me an excuse. And so what happens in the actual brain is when you can't give an excuse, it means you can't let yourself off the hook. Now, I want to be really clear that I also meet this person with kindness and compassion too, because you kind of need both. So if you're not going to make an excuse, then you also can't beat yourself up. Otherwise, you will once again be stuck. So what that looks like is they'd say, I didn't do my cardio this week because, and I'd say, stop. It's okay that you didn't do your cardio this week. I don't want to hear why, but I want to understand the pattern of why this is happening. So without the excuse, what can you say is the pattern? Is it that you don't like doing it? Is it that that we haven't picked the one that you like? Is it the timing? Is it feel overwhelming? Is it that you don't have energy? Let's get to the root of the problem and solve there. And so that's how I would treat that. So going into cornhole, what that looks like is you lose a game. Maybe the boards were slow. Maybe the boards were fast. Whatever the very real variable is that you want to make an excuse about, and I'm not even saying you're saying it to anybody. I'm even saying in your own head, don't allow yourself to make an excuse. Instead, just stop, meet yourself with kindness and compassion. I lost. That sucks. I don't like to lose. I'm human. It's going to happen. And then if it keeps recurring, you look for the pattern or the cause. So like, what am I noticing keeps happening if I put aside a variable that occurred? Because if it's truly a one-off variable, then guess what? It only happens once. So
Yeah,
if it's a pattern,
I could
go
take that
ahead.
into consideration for this last weekend because whenever I played advanced, I was like, man, those guys just shot better than I did. They shot like a 10 or something. I was missing my blocks and I'm sitting there and I'm thinking about it like after I just got all that downtime since I went 0-2, and I'm like, dude, you got 4 hours of sleep. You hung out way too late last night. You didn't get any sleep the day before that. Like, I was like, you put yourself in this situation to go 0-2. You don't practice. Like,
Yes,
nothing you
yes.
did leading up to this moment set you up for success today.
Exactly. It's very logical, right? And that is
Yeah.
literally the conversation I have when I lose. I'm like, that's fine. Like I don't put in hours of practice, which I'm not. A lot of you who are regular throwers do. So I'm not saying that that's the right conversation to have in your head. You probably are practicing enough. And I want to be really cautious when we start problem solving, especially in the moment. I mean, that's an obvious one. I didn't get any sleep, blah blah blah. But typically what happens is when we lose, we automatically go to, I don't practice enough. And I'm talking about people that are practicing regularly will still come up with
Yeah.
that in the moment, because that seems like the only logical thing, and it's the only thing you can control. It feels like the only thing you can control. And that's why you go there first in your mind. Well, I'm just going to practice more and that's going to fix this problem. And I'm going to caution you not to do that either, but actually sit and let the whole situation kind of have space and time to breathe. And once again, only if it's recurring do we then look for solutions. Like, okay, what's happening here? Um, Even with something like maybe you're noticing in that game, I didn't release high enough or I didn't release in the right spot. And so then you're like, I'm going to go drill my release. Even in that situation, I would caution you to pause there, because if you notice that, your body will probably just course correct if you just drop into it and breathe and focus on your being present. I don't even think you need to drill it, because you already know how to do it. Your arm already knows how to do it. So
Yeah.
I guess to kind of summarize, don't make excuses. Make a rule that you will never make an excuse for why something did or didn't happen. Meet yourself with kindness and compassion, the same way you would somebody that you love, or a child or a friend or a parent, like how you would come to them and treat yourself that way. And then let there be time and space to let things breathe before you start knee-jerk problem solving. And then if you are someone that already has a pretty high ceiling and you just didn't throw to that ceiling, I wouldn't go and drill things. I would really just focus on getting in your body and trusting that your arm already knows how to do what it needs to do. So you just need to get out of the way and let it do its thing, but you don't need to drill it or attack it or beat it
Yeah.
up or go at war with it, because then you're just fighting with the very thing that you want to be working for you in the best way possible.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
that's kind of what we talked about earlier with like my airmail and just kind of it knows how to go in the hole, it knows where to release it and stuff like that. And the airmail for me lately is just I go to the board and I can just throw it right away. I don't need down and backs. I can just throw it right off the bat. And then whenever I start implementing the strategy part where like I'm gonna block and then throw an airmail, that's when things start to get out of line. It's like, okay, my block was
'Cause you're
off to
out
the
of
side.
automation,
Yeah,
right?
now he could sneak around this, and now I gotta collect that bag. Oh, he's side by side. Now I gotta airmail, and it's like the whole plan was
Yeah.
originally to airmail, and then it's
Mhm.
just one other thing kinda falls out of sequence, and it messed me up, but yeah, I think
And
whenever
that
I
comes
I
back
look for
to
a
practice.
yeah. I think whenever I look for a problem, then I start looking for an excuse, and then I can actually find more problems that I was actually looking for and make
Yeah.
more excuses than I originally intended, so
It's a spiraling effect
it is.
there, I would say. But yeah, no, it's absolutely true. And if you can get in that habit, you're going to be so much more successful. And the what you practice so that you never have to think. You practice so that you can be in automation, meaning every response to what happens is automatic. The minute you have to start really thinking is when you're going to decrease your chance of hitting your ceiling. So that's really what practice is for, is just to drill at any aspect of automation that you possibly can, so that you automatically throw an airmail when this happens, so that you automatically step out when this happens. But the strategizing is even automatic, I guess, is what I'm trying to say. So you don't,
Yeah. Yep.
because if you're in your head thinking, you're not in your body, and that's not going to be successful. So hopefully that's helpful. We're going to take a break and come back with our game right after this. It's time for our game, and we're going to start off with the top 4-bagger and floor bagger. Let's start with our 4-bagger of the week. What you got, Wally?
Yeah, again, 4-bagger for me was the bar. I kind of bragged about it earlier, but I, excuse me, I like the idea of these bars popping up across the country. We've seen the whole 9 yards, probably one of the biggest ones. Then we got like a medium-sized one at Great Shots in Detroit. And I like the size of this one here. We got about 13 boards. I think we're set up, or 10 boards, something like that. But if it runs smooth, it really doesn't matter the size. Just having a place that you can go into and it'd be specifically for cornhole and provide that entire awesome environment with basically extended family. It's unmatched. I just had a great time. It was really nice to me to get back to my St. Louis roots and hanging out with my St. Louis family again. And it was a really, really cool weekend for me. And then obviously throwing my buddies again that I haven't thrown with in a long time, and even just getting back in there and competing with them was really fun. So that's my top 4-bagger.
Love it. Mine is the 100th episode of Around the ACL. It's very exciting. And for those of you who don't know the backstory there, I started with Girls Throw 2, and ACL then approached us. And I don't even remember the timing of it all, but it wasn't long before Trey said, we want to invite you to host one of our podcasts. It's going to be like a news podcast. And I just felt so honored that I got selected for that role based on my Girls Throw 2 podcast. And so at the time I was doing both of those podcasts, and then obviously dropped Girls Throw 2, and then to be invited to do this one with you to kind of replace that one. It's just been an honor, and I appreciate the trust that the ACL has in me. And for a long time, because I've always been like a solopreneur, I think I've kind of always just felt like, man, I wish somebody else would acknowledge some of these skills that I have. Because I feel like it's just like I'm just doing them by myself, and there's like a small group of people who maybe tune into what I do, but like I feel like I'm not utilizing it to the degree that I could if someone else that has a bigger audience could see it. So it felt good to have that finally acknowledged and utilized.
Nice. Yeah, no, I actually was bragging on you, and I did the AJ's podcast earlier today, and we were kind of bragging on you, and they basically said the same thing. I was like, man, she's just amazing, everything that she does, and I don't see any of it working as well as it could without you being a part of it. So hat off to you for sure.
Appreciate that. All right, floor bagger. What do you have?
All right. So yeah, kind of drastic switch of mood here, but my floor bagger.
Okay.
The tragedy that happened in Maine, with the shooting, I just can't imagine anything worse than going to hang out. This could be somebody's only day to get away and relax. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And for it to turn so drastically because of just idiocy, it saddens, and it's disgusting, and I hate it.
It's absolutely like impossible for me to even hold in my brain for more than a couple minutes, because I just feel it too much. I can't. Like, and that's something I do, like, with the stuff that was happening in Israel too. I'm Jewish, and my whole family's Jewish, and like those things, like for good or for better or for worse, I have to literally push them out of my head because I just can't even handle what's happening. And so that's why I don't really post about things. Like, I just can't. I can't. It's too much. It's too overwhelming, and I don't think that's necessarily a good thing, but that's how I cope. Mine's a lot less intense than that. It's so at the bracket on Friday that I played in, we won our first game. The second game, I think it was like 18-19, like somewhere close. And I threw a 1 to lose. I threw a 1, Wally.
Meesh, I am actually going to make you feel a little bit better here, because
good.
whenever I played comp singles, this was day 3, by the way. So day 4 of me throwing in a row after my birthday shots and celebrations, and then 4 hours of sleep every single day. I started off the first game, I threw a 2. Luckily, my opponent threw a 3, so he only scored 1 point that round. My very next match, I threw a 1, and she threw a 9, so she scored 8 points on me first round. And then my next match, I scored a 3. So yeah, so I started off with a 1, a 2, and a 3 in comp singles. So
Hey, but you were improving. You were moving on up.
yeah, I don't even know if I went 2 and 2. I don't know. I couldn't tell you. It was just not well.
Oh my
So,
God, that does make me feel better though.
yeah.
Oh, we lost it though. It was definitely on me. All right, send it or board it.
All right, send it aborted. Should I guess, send it and fly out to Oroville early before Australia and hang out for some blind draws and stuff, or just board it and go straight to Australia?
Ooh, when is that?
December 1st, November 30th.
December 1st. I feel like we have a cornhole tournament that weekend. Pause. Potentially, definitely send it. I mean, always send it. You're always welcome to come to Oroville and hang out with us, but there could be even more of an incentive to send it. How about that?
Yeah. The first flight, or the one flight that makes sense, like waking up at 4 o'clock in the morning, or like flying the entire day. I mean, it's a 20-hour process to get to Australia. I'm just like, it all would basically hinge on a 48-minute layover in LAX, and I'm like, that's too risky. I'd rather
no, I wouldn't do that.
Yeah, I'd rather get to California and then be able to make sure I'm there like an hour early before my flight.
Oh yeah. Yeah, definitely. I would totally not have that small of a connection window. Absolutely not. So yeah, send it. And potentially really send it. So potentially super send it. Okay, mine is Alan Rawls in the top 5. Do you put Alan Rawls in the top? You're sending it. Bernie didn't even put him in his top 10.
There's 3 top ones right now for me: Alan Rawls, Ryan Windsor, and Ryan Trader.
Okay.
Not in that order. I'm just saying those guys.
Yeah, just they're
they
up
haven't
there.
lost. They haven't lost yet.
I know. So I send it. I put. Oh no, wait. I put him at 7. So I guess I'm boarding it. But it's just like a funny topic with this Alan Rawls thing. Okay, would you rather? Okay, let's see. We've been the same one.
All right. So would you rather be on the front line with the kiddos out there trick or treating, where you get to see all the decorations and stuff, or would you rather be at home getting to hand out the candy and see all the costumes?
I have the same exact would you rather. I said, take your kid trick or treating or pass out candy at home.
Love it. Happy Halloween, everybody.
The reason why is because that is the question for tonight, because we're going to my friend's house, and you know, either the dads take the kids trick or treating and we stay home, pass out candy, or vice versa. I would actually rather stay at home, because I've never had a house where kids come to I've never been in a neighborhood that has kids. So this will be the first time that I can actually pass out candy ever. So I really want to do it, which is trick or treating. We've done, a few times. So I'm going to say stay at home. What about you?
Well, we used to decorate the entire yard. I mean, we basically have 7 houses on our street. At the top of the street, you can look down, you see lights and everything's spooky sounding coming from us. Down the road, you look up, you see like everyone's like kind of like, what's this house with fog pouring out in the street?
You're the cool house.
We are the cool house, and we would always have actors where we'd like scare parents and kids. Like the parents that would be like push their kid like, go up there. No, you're getting targeted, bro. I'm coming right after you. I would see them down the street, and I would hide across the street on the car. So whenever they're pushing kids to the house, I would sneak up behind them and be like, what kind of parent are you?
Evil.
Like, yeah,
I would hate you.
Good. Yeah, so we have a blast scaring the kids.
I like to scare the living daylights out of children and adults, but hey, that's what I do. No, I don't like to be scared, Wally. I'm boarding that. Boarding that all day. But no, we'll see what happens tonight. It's up to Nick. He's the one that's been working out, in the heat. So whichever one he wants is what we'll do. But all right, we are all done. Thanks so much, everybody, for joining us, and we'll see you guys all next time.